Hey everybody, Nate Lee here, and I've had a busy couple of weeks. I produced an album week before last. I'll tell you more about that when it gets closer to being done. We had great players on it: 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗽𝐻 on banjo, Ashley Caudill on bass, Dan Boner on guitar, and Brandon Bostic on dobro, and also some guitar. And then I played mandolin. Did lots and lots of chopping, which has made that fresh in mind. And after a discussion with a student who improved their chop very quickly in a lesson the other day, I knew that this week's video needed to be the #1 reason why your chop sounds wimpy. I've also been getting ready for my tremolo class. It's one night only, December 4th. It's called Master Tremolo, and no matter what your level is with tremolo, whether you've never done it before or you've done it a lot and you're just not happy with it, we're going to cover why your tremolo is not good and exactly how to make it good. It's one session, 60 minutes long. We're going to hang out and chat before and after on Zoom, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So check it out. You can sign up below. Let's get into why your chop sounds wimpy. And if you watch till the end, I'm going to give you the #2 reason your chop sounds wimpy. So make sure to watch until then. So here's the deal. Most people have a really wimpy chop. If that's you, it's okay. Everybody has a wimpy chop to start out, but you don't have to keep having a wimpy chop. And when I look at people who have a wimpy chop and watch them play, they all have this in common, every single one of them. And that is that they don't have runway. So I'll show you what I mean by runway. Runway is the amount of space that you have before your pick hits a string. If I start out right here, for my chop, that has very little runway, almost none. If I start out from here, well, that's a lot of runway. Now, we don't want this much runway, obviously, but you would be surprised the amount of runway you actually need. You're actually going to probably feel like you're doing this when you first try it. So here's the amount of runway that you actually need for a strong chop. And it's actually pretty easy to find. Where you need to go is that your arm needs to come up like this, and when the top of your wrist, which should be curved like this, because we're about to come up and do this. You can watch my video about the thunder chop to learn more about this style. Oops. To learn more about this style of chopping. When we come up here, your arm should come up to the top of the mandolin. So this part of your wrist should be lined up pretty close to the top of the mandolin. This feels like really far, but it really is, it's not actually that far. So we're going to bring it here, and then when we come around like this to chop, again, watch that thunder chop video. When we come around like this to chop, we've now got this much runway. This should be what you're practicing. This should be how you practice your chopping. Then you can practice shortening it from there. When you have this much runway, it allows you to get a strong chop. Whether it's muted or a sustained chord. It allows you to get a strong chop. You're never going to get a strong chop if you have no runway. And most people keep their pick confined from here, just above their G string, to here, just below their E string. And their entire pick stroke looks like that. That is going to make a wimpy chop every time. Check it out. I'm trying really hard to do everything else right, but it just sounds wimpy. Same thing if I do this. Not only is it wimpy, but the chord doesn't sound very good. And that's because we've got to have runway. What comes with runway is follow through. We've also got to follow through to the other end, so don't stop when you reach your E string either. Your job then is to practice starting from all the way up here. There are going to be times when we do less, but you should be practicing starting from here, maximum runway. This is as far as you'll ever need to go, and chopping that way with your muted chop or with a chord. And then make sure that you also follow through so that your pick is not stopping right here, but instead it's stopping down here. If you watch this is a dark colored tone slabs play Nate Lee edition pick, so it's a little hard to see. But if you watch where my thumb is, that'll show you where the pick is. So we're following through all the way down to here. The reason for that is if we try to stop our pick, we'd lose that velocity because we're trying to put on the brakes. So you think of it, somebody had a baseball bat, right? So got a baseball bat, right? I'm not a baseball player, but I do have a Wonder Bat. So you got your baseball bat here. So imagine you come in and you swing and then you just stop right here. Well, there's not a lot of time for that to wind up. You haven't hit the baseball very hard. I'm waiting for all the comments from people who know how to play baseball. What do you think? How's my technique? Am I good? Do the little swirly thing. I notice they always do that. I think that looks pretty cool. So imagine if instead you come and you follow through with that and that's as far as I can follow through without hitting the tripod, but you get the picture, then you're able to build up a fast swing. You get a lot of velocity, a lot of force to what you're doing. That's what we need. We're not trying to break strings, but we are trying to swat that mandolin pretty good to make a good chop. So we've got both the runway needed to speed up, and then we've got the follow through that is needed in order for us not to be hitting the brakes too soon. And that is most likely why your chop sounds wimpy. Now, just in case that's not the only thing going on, there's the number 2 reason your chop sounds wimpy. And this one is really important, almost as important as the first one, but we really can't make a good sound without runway and follow through. Before we get into that, if you liked this video and you would like to see more things like this show up in your feed, then hit that subscribe button and hit the like button and comment. It's all really helpful for the channel, and also it helps you because you're going to get more videos of mine and other things like this in your feed. If you hated this video, then you probably shouldn't do any of those things. You can even give it a thumbs down if you want. Now, on to the number 2 reason that your chop is wimpy. Most people don't actually squeeze hard enough when they chop, because we've all heard for years and years, hold your pick so loose that you're about to drop it. So we try it, but that makes for a wimpy chop too. Even if I have all the wind up and follow through, it's a pretty wimpy chop. Now imagine if I hold it so loose I'm about to drop it and I don't even have the wind up and the follow through. So here I have no runway, 0 runway happening. Oops, I accidentally did it good just then. So it sounds like this. It's not the chop we want. Now if I just put on a little bit more pressure, a little bit of squeeze here and here. We don't want that to squeeze all up in here, just right here. That little bit of squeeze is what we're after. Give it that little bit of squeeze, then it's going to make a much bolder sound. And if you want the most bold sound ever, then you bring all your fingers in and you squeeze like that. And that gives you the boldest sound. Just be careful with this, because if you have too much pick depth, you're going to end up just making a bad sound or possibly breaking a string. Pick depth is another important thing, and you can check out my video, the number 1 reason you can't play fast, that I released a few weeks ago, and it talks about pick depth. And pick depth is an important thing to not have too much of when you play chords back up and chopping as well. So those are the 2 things. You need to have the runway. If you don't have runway, you've got no time to wind up, and you need to follow through. And then make sure you're not holding your pick so loose that you're about to drop it. Instead, hold it tight enough that it doesn't move. And that's going to make your chop sound a whole lot better. All right, everybody, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, and sign up for Master Tremolo. It's Monday, December 4th. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's only $35 to attend, and it's an hour-long workshop. We're going to hang out and chat beforehand. We're going to hang out and chat after, and you'll also get PDFs, and you'll get the video to keep forever. So sign up. I can't wait to see you there. Link down below. All right, bye, everybody.